Hello, I'm Elinor Stutz, CEO of Smooth Sale, LLC, a sales training company. And in my corporate years, shall we say, I was motivated to keep on finding new sales jobs because I was always the top producer. And they didn't like very much in those years that the female was at the top of the scoreboard. So in my years, 11 years, I became very adept at interviewing, and early on it was very clear that sales techniques apply to interviewing. Fast forward 11 years later, I became the entrepreneur, and I realized a few more things that apply to sales as well as to interviewing. Perseverance, good communication, and marketing and branding and all of that apply to interviewing as well as getting the sale. My very first networking event, I had people either laugh at me or run away from me when I announced I was a sales trainer. So I read marketing materials. They all said in common to write a book. I did just that. And I had the last laugh because I call it a corporate tell-all, but it also shares all the sales techniques that are pertinent to either making a sale or getting the job that you desire. That book is entitled Nice Girls Do Get the Sale, Relationship Building That Gets Results. It was featured in Time magazine, translated, and it is an international bestseller. It is available online at Amazon. At the same time, when I was starting out my sales training business, I vowed I would begin helping communities, and I chose groups of job seekers to teach them how to sell themselves on interviews. When the economy fell, I chose to write the book, Hired: How to Use Sales Techniques to Sell Yourself on Interviews. That instantly became a bestseller. It is available today at major bookstores, at FedEx office, book kiosks coast to coast, and online at Amazon as well. Before we begin the presentation of how to sell yourself on interviews, I'd like to give a hearty thank you to Carla Skill, founder of AmericaHires360, and to all the sponsors and companies behind it to make this possible. One of the main things that's very powerful that you have to keep in mind is your power of belief that you will be successful. Now, perseverance is behind this too. It may not be the first interview, but you will get the job that you desire. You have to have the mental mindset that whatever you desire, you will be successful, even if it takes a lot of self-education behind it. Mark Twain said it most succinctly. If you believe you can, you will, and if you believe you can't, you won't. I found this true to be in terms of sales as well as getting the job that I desired. Building your personal brand is very essential and goes behind getting the sale. There are two mottos I would like you to keep in mind that are very apropos. The sales motto is, before people purchase, they have to know you, like you, and trust you. So in order to get to know you, you have to connect on the human chord. You have to find commonality with a person or people interviewing you. And when you strike that chord, find commonality, that's when your chance of success of hearing hired comes to be. And the PR motto goes, you need to get noticed, remembered, and referred. And this can refer to your networks, whether in person or online, to help you get in front of the right hiring managers. Through all of this, you need to be like a box of Cheerios. Everyone knows what they're going to get whenever they encounter you, whether in person, online, or on an interview. So sales and PR mottos must be kept in mind. Your words, actions, and deeds must all be consistent. And along with that, your marketing communication, your body language, facial expressions, and all that you do must reflect the words that you choose. So reflecting your brand, I learned that the commonality factor and storytelling are very, very powerful. It's wise to have a 1 to 2 minute story that's apropos for your talents, interests, where you excel in your career and how it applies to the company problems. So before you go on an interview, practice in front of a mirror. Watch if you smile enough, your posture, your gesturing, body language, and before the interview, be dressed in your favorite outfit so that you feel and look confident. And when you can tell your story with excitement, passion, emotion, and a smile on your face, you are more likely to hear the word hired. Now, interviewing comes in 2 parts. The first part, before the interview, it's all about you. When you're on the interview, it's all about the company, how you can solve their problems and value add to what they're looking for. So let's begin with you. What is your purpose? What are your interests, talents, the responsibilities you're willing to take on, and your long-term vision for the job? Is it just a job to collect a paycheck so you can pay your bills, or do you want a long-term career and hope to advance rungs on the ladder? That decision is yours and yours solely, but you need to know what it is you want and the reward you seek from it. I suggest to all of my clients that you have 3 lists, and the lists contain must-have on the job. You will not take it if you do not have it. In the middle, do not want list, and then everything else that is negotiable. We must all recognize we can't have everything we want, but we can get most of what we want. And you have to be certain you know your rules for business, where you draw the line in the sand and absolutely will not do, and you need to stick to that. So that's why number 2 on the list, do not want, is equally important. And then anything in between is up for negotiation, and the negotiation is at the very end when you say hired, and then you start talking about the package. On the do not want, some of the items that I would have in my do not want, obviously we're all different and have different ideas of how our career will look. I would not want travel, long hours, long commute, or money with no reward. I'm telling you this to give you ideas of what might appear on your list, what's important to you. And when you're interviewing, you're hearing everything that it's entailed in the job proposed. You need to mentally compare it with your list to see if it's a good fit. Research is one of the most important skills you can apply to interviewing. Read the business news daily. Even professional salespeople do not do this, and they fall short on their sales. When you read the business news, think about the industry in which you wish to work, how it applies to the company, the industry, and its competitors. Speaking of the competitors, see who their clients are versus the company where you wish to interview. You may even consider, before your big day, interviewing at a competitive company in the industry to get an idea of the problems in the industry, the jargon, so by the time you go on your big interview, you will sound highly intelligent and a team player before you're ever hired. So apply the news of the day to your interview. One of the most important techniques in sales is qualifying, and that certainly applies to interviewing. As you're having your conversation, and it must be a 2-way conversation, many people go in as a victim, but you need to go in as a leader by asking questions, listening carefully, and clarifying. But on the qualifying, as they're speaking, is it interesting? Does it sound like you'll have career advancement if that's your goal? Will you have a chance to excel, stand out, be a team player, be a team leader? Does it meet your requirements, a must-have? Is the industry doing well? Is the company doing well? All of these factors go into the qualification process. In sales, we talk about a sales funnel, where at the top it's very wide and you have many, many prospects for the sale or for the job, but only a couple will trickle through that meet all your requirements and where they feel you are the best candidate to hire. Hopefully several will trickle through for you. Now, whether you're a student or you are a serious worker and have a career already established, being the expert and being seen will help you get a job more quickly. So even if you are a student, you're the expert on what you have already studied. And for those of you who have worked, you're the expert for how to get the job done. Write a blog, write tweets, contribute to discussions on LinkedIn and branch out. You will be seen as an expert. More people will ask to connect with you. And sometimes on social media, I've heard stories, that's how people found their job. The more you can stand out as an expert, the more opportunity you will attract. And I love social media because it makes all this possible very easily at no cost. That's the beauty of it. Another strong sales tip is there are no totem poles in a company. And what I mean by this, again, professional salespeople make the error. You have to go in as polite as possible, and that means saying hello to the doorman, thanking him for opening the door, thanking the receptionist for helping you meet up with the right people in the company, perhaps starting a conversation, how they like working there. Treat everybody as a CEO. When you're in a meeting, say you have multiple people interviewing you. The quiet people or the people who leave early many times are considered not important. Very often they are the major decision maker, but they want their team to build up their skills. So treat everybody as a CEO of their own job and you will not go wrong. Be respectful and kind to everyone. Ask everyone you meet for their business card. Make sure you've got the first and last names, and then you'll be able to write them thank you notes even if they leave the room early. Beginning your interview. Now you can imagine, we all know that hundreds and sometimes thousands of people apply for the same job. You're very lucky when you get the interview in today's economy. When you enter an office, try to find something nice to say immediately up front. Once the small talk is finished and you're asked to sit down, make yourself comfortable, be the leader again. Ask this one question, but phrase it in your own vocabulary for consistency of branding. The best question to start the interview out on to eliminate further small talk or nonsense is to say, you must have received so many resumes. What is it about mine that stood out? And that one question will get you rolling on the right path to hearing hired. So remember, what stood out on my resume that motivated you to invite me today? That will begin the best interview for you. Communicate with precision. Discovery is first. Why you invited me in. What are the problems you're facing because there's a vacancy? Why is there a vacancy? Ask questions, listen, and clarify. The one error many people make on interviews is they don't understand a word and they're too embarrassed to ask and they make assumptions, and at the end they look foolish because they completely misinterpret it. Instead of looking foolish, you will actually look like a viable candidate because you admit what you don't understand, but you're willing to learn. So ask what they mean, get it clarified, and then continue your conversation. And when you answer, always answer in terms, what's in it for them. Remember, you're there to solve the company problems. Getting to hired, you need to uncover their hidden needs, wants, and deep down desires. You do this through questions. And the sales motto is you need to find 3 to 5 needs in order to make a sale or get the job offer. So this is in terms of their goals. Is it a team play? How much interaction with upper management or headquarters if you're at a remote office? What kind of career path is there? Growth plan for the team or for the company, and company directives. You need to uncover as much information as possible so that you can better qualify whether it fits what you're looking for. And in the end comes to negotiation. Absolutely no emotion when you negotiate. You need to have the presence, even though you badly want the job, that you're ready to walk up and go to another company if they don't provide what it is you positively, absolutely need. At the same time, it needs to be reasonable. So there has to be give and take so that you may meet in the middle. Remind them of their needs, wants, and desires, how you deliver on that, plus some, your value add, and that it will be worth the price you're asking in terms of salary for them to get their problems resolved. And finally, my favorite non-negotiation negotiation strategy, practice truly makes perfect. As you interview, you get better and better at delivering your information to the company's needs and interests, solving their problems. You speak more confidently, and your brand is very apparent that you are a leader, a team player, and that you're the perfect candidate. So at each interview, when you are asked for a salary, give yourself a raise of, $2,500, $5,000. Say you have 3 interviews and you gave yourself a $5,000 raise each time, you will be asking for $15,000 a year more. And you're more likely to get it because now you sound very confident and the person that they've been after all this time. I do have resources for you to get more of this information. My website is smoothsale.net, smoothsale.net, and there are a couple of tabs. Gifts for you are articles, interviews, and podcasts to give you more in-depth information, no charge whatsoever, along with my blog that's written Monday through Friday. And again, my 2 books are Hired, How to Use Sales Techniques to Sell Yourself on Interviews, and Nice Girls Do Get the Sale, Relationship Building That Gets Results. By the way, nice people do get the sale. Ending the conversation. At the end of the conversation, when you realize it's winding up, find out the process. What's the time frame for them making a decision? What are the next steps? Do you need to meet with more people on the executive team? What else do they need to see from you? When would they like you to check in? What can you do? Again, make certain you have all the business cards so that you can send thank you notes, and I'll get to that in a second. Find out when they expect to hear from you. And I want to tell you another sales technique. Very often, especially in this economy, you may be told you're the perfect candidate. They want to hire you. Unfortunately, it's not always truthful, so do not stop interviewing. You keep interviewing at other places until you get a hard offer in the mail. Meanwhile, follow up. Wednesdays and Thursdays are generally best. Say, I enjoyed meeting with you, and when may we meet next to wrap this up? It's called a trial close. As soon as you get back to your office, send a thank you email for time and appreciation, and keep it very short. Recap just the highest point on which you left on a high note. At the same time, that same day, write a hard thank you note on nice note paper and mail it. Most people do not take the time to do this, and the power of thank you is huge. It will be greatly appreciated, and on that thank note, include your phone number. Another sales motto is make it easy for the other party to say yes. So as I mentioned, never put your eggs in one basket. Very valid proverb here. Keep searching for a job. Keep interviewing until you get that solid offer. Have fun weekends. Spend it with friend or family. And when you're really stressed out, hug someone. That body chemistry really, really helps. Keep a smile on your face and you will get that job that you want and you will hear hired. You have our commitment, my commitment. All strategies have been tested time and again and proven to work. We model the concept over deliver on value. I want to stress that to you too. And our intention is that you are hired. All of my contact information is below. Please email me, phone me. Questions are gold to me because then it gives me more information to write about, and I change the names. Big thank you to Carlos Gill for making all of this possible with AmericaHires360 and to all of the sponsors and corporations behind this online conference. May you be hugely successful, and please write me about your success. I thank you for your time.